have a flick through your notes. What was your biggest learning from yesterday that you haven't written down yet? Have a look through. Biggest learning that you haven't written down, and write it down. As soon as you got it, stand up and share it with the room, please. Anywhere you like, Wayne.
Anywhere.
Anywhere, mate.
That I'm allowed to put people's rents up periodically.
Awesome.
Gotta be the cake first.
Love it.
Being much more vanilla with your bank account.
Mate, that's not stood up, that's a mid-squat. Be proud.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you for a lovely evening everyone yesterday. Put on a lovely show yesterday. I'm looking forward to today. But I particularly felt being vanilla with your bank accounts was a very vital one, especially if you like to bet.
Excellent. And love it. And I'll put on a show whenever you want now, that's fine. You went to bed too early last night though, you missed that show. Who's next?
Don't procrastinate.
Love it. Biggie for you, Ed, that's what's going to hold you back most.
Set up a limited company.
He can't even stand up this morning, come on.
Don't put it as a sole trader, set it up as a limited company.
Awesome.
Identity iceberg.
Identity iceberg, love it. Thank you so much. Come on. Anywhere you want, Mahmood. Anywhere there's a seat, guys. As soon as you found your... So those of you that just walked in, biggest learning that you haven't written down yet, stand up and share it with the room, please. Flick through your notes.
So that your bread and butter properties, just setting off for your best bet rather than trying to go bigger.
Love it. Going to talk about that a lot today. If you remember one thing for the next 4 hours, it's that, okay? Bread and butter, opportunity cost of not being in property, because we're going to go up a level today. We're going to go around the whole 4 agenda points again, and we're going to take it to a much more sophisticated level. But what I don't want you to do is to sit there going, this is too complicated now, I can't do it. Because do you know what? If you trotted off home this morning and started doing what we did yesterday, you'd build a really profitable portfolio. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Good. Any more learnings?
The triangle, what is it called? No refurbishments, basically. Literally ROI.
Thank you, JJ. The ROI triangle, return on investment triangle. Love it. It's biggie, that is.
You can do a deed of trust.
You can. If you haven't stood up and shared your biggest learning from yesterday, please do so now. Thanks, Adam.
Don't buy with emotion.
Love it.
Get flipping started. Get off zero.
Absolutely.
Get off zero.
There's 2 of you on that, you and Ed. I agree. The biggest way of making a mistake is not to take action.
What you mentioned about delegating that application.
Yeah, I see that a lot with newbie investors, because you've got a really experienced letting agent, right? Or a really experienced lawyer.
For me, it's the information that you need to give to your tenant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Who was it that said yes? You can't just say yes, you have to stand up and share.
In addition, all the checks that you need to do on specific tenants, like their car information and their last 2 past landlords, I think. I'm a very trusting person, but that was very eye-opening for me in terms of, oh, time's up.
Mine is increasing rents in line with inflation. I've got one tenant who is just about to renew theirs, and I wasn't going to put it up. They've been a really good tenant for the past year. I had a couple of problems with the issue, but I'm actually not doing them a favour by not increasing it, because it could become too expensive for them.
Excellent. What a mind shift.
Don't buy with your partner.
That's what she means. I love it.
Don't over refurb because you can't get your money back.
I'll translate. So, Don't over refurb because it takes so long to get your money back through rental profits.
So about taking finance out of your own home and then potentially putting it into a business and transferring funds across.
Absolutely. So we chatted about this yesterday. If you can borrow out of your own home, and you can borrow that at 2%, 4%, 6% out of your own home, it's a no-brainer to take money out to then invest in buy-to-let, because the returns are 50 to 100%. So yes, it will cost you a bit of money to take it out of your house, but actually, overall, you're going to be way, way better off. So yeah, really big one for you guys, wasn't it, that? Excellent. Has everyone been? I think everyone's been.
I haven't been. I'm just looking through all mine. I've got loads.
That's what happens when you come in a bit late, mate. It takes
I
a
knew
while.
you'd have to have a comment on that. I'm awesome at all sorts. I'm really comfortable with timekeeping. Plus, I had a cracking breakfast, and that makes a difference. You'll all have a better day because I had a good start.
Do you know what? You're right, mate. Thank you for being late. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome, Frank. So, I've got loads of stuff written down. I feel like I'm at an AA meeting. So, but the big, I don't know, there were loads and loads and loads, but the stuff on diversification were really good for me. And even down to changing your insurance broker.
Yeah.
Like, so simple, but like really practical stuff. So, yeah, stuff like that were really good.
Good. Thank you so much. Missed anyone? I think we've had everyone this morning. Yeah, we did. Wayne. Oh, he nearly got you. Like head down.
Getting to know everything of what to put into place when you're buying. Like you just said, conveyancing and everything else. Insurances, banks, everything really, which I didn't really know before I come here.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's start, shall we? So, in terms of planning, there's not a lot more for us to do together. I've given you everything you need, all the tools you need. You might want to go into a little bit more detail if you haven't like nailed your goldmine area analysis. However, what do you think I'm going to say about absolutely perfecting your plan versus taking action? What do you think I'm going to say? Anyone? Just take action, exactly. So if you've picked a goldmine area analysis, picked a goldmine area and you think, do you know what? I'm not certain. It could be this area, it could be this area. Flick a coin. If you've spent half an hour looking at the stats, you're not going to be wrong, and they might be exactly the same. But if you wait a month or 2 months or a year, you've now lost out anyway. Now it was the wrong decision, whichever one you take. So don't go for perfection, just go for good enough is good enough. Because when the returns are the returns that we've talked about, it doesn't really matter. And do you know what? You might buy 3 houses there and then you go, do you know what? This train line is rubbish. There's always leaves on the track and it always takes an hour longer. You wouldn't possibly have known that anyway. Or, do you know what? There's not a good Chinese takeaway here and I'm here one night a fortnight. So I'm going to go to that other place, so I'm going to spend a bit more time, and that's cool. Now you've just got three properties in Gosport, right? I said Gosport might work for you, but you really don't like the idea of it. You might go, no, I'll do Gosport, I can get over it. It's not emotion, Frank says it's not emotion. But if you spend 2 nights a month there, you go, oh, I just can't stand it. I quite like it in Gosport. I go for a run around there. And so I do all my sailing from Gosport, that's why I know it. So my sailing school's there. But you might go, do you know what? I don't like this. You might think, I don't like Gosport. I thought I'd be all right with it, but actually, you know, whatever, this from my childhood or, you know, the big flats like upset me or whatever. I don't want to come here. That's fine. Now you've got 3 in Gosport and now you can go, but I love Yorkshire. Like, Leeds, I went to uni there, so now I'm going to do, and now you've got a bit of diversification, so don't beat yourself up and certainly don't pause and wait. It's really not worth it. So that's it for planning. Did anyone have any questions about planning at all? Joe?
So in my mind, you have to spend thousands on marketing material to get out into these gold mine areas, what it actually is, what do you foresee being your spend, and how many leaflets are you buying, and how often are you sending them out, and what is your, I guess, marketing strategy?
Yeah, good question. So, of all the marketing we did yesterday, can I see a show of hands actually of who thinks they've got enough information to go and buy 4, 5, 6 houses in the next 12 months? Hands up if you think you learned enough yesterday to do that. Yeah, sure. What about this table? Yeah? Anyone in the room feels like they need more information to go buy 4, 5, 6 houses? Marcus, Christy?
For me, no, it's just a case of reviewing the actual notes and just going over and just absorbing it. But I feel comfortable that there's the skeleton there. And then you just put the
You got enough information?
Yeah, yeah.
Christy?
Yeah,
Yeah, I am.
I couldn't remember, thank you. There's a challenge for you there, mate.
Yep.
Everyone else in the room has got enough information to go buy some houses, but for you it's just a skeleton. So I don't understand what else you need. So I'd really challenge you on that, because I said it yesterday and I say it again. My biggest fear for you, Marcus, is you take no action from this. And if half the room said, no, I need some more information, and half the room was like, yeah, I'm ready to go, that's probably a personality thing. And this half of the room does need more information. But every single person, am I wrong? Has anyone sat there going, no, I'm with Marcus? Every single person has said they've got enough information. So that would indicate that I gave enough information yesterday, which means you've got enough information to take action. But there's something in you that's going, but I'm not going to. And I wonder, and I have seen this before, and the concern, by the way, is for 3 of you, Ed and Mahmood and you, Marcus. I don't think there's anyone else. If you were investing yourself, Claire, with your own money, I'd probably be similarly concerned for you. But because it's Nick's money, it almost will give you permission to crack on, because it is your job to do it. So for you 3, I think it's just you 3, I am concerned that the 3 of you won't take action. I'm not for you two, actually, because you're on the Diamond Wealth Programme, you've got to know I'm doing it, and you're going to be there every month, and so I'll support you through it. But for you, Marcus, I really am concerned that you're going to walk off this evening and not take action. So it's in your hands, and I'll help you as much as you want me to help you, but it is a concern of mine. So Joe's question was about how much to spend on marketing. Well, my question is, from all the marketing I gave you yesterday, you've all just said you've got all the information you need. You've got all the marketing strategies, etc. We wrote them all down, didn't we? How much will they cost you? Nothing. And that's really important to remember. Yesterday, you got enough information to build a portfolio, not up here on the complexity, what's the second word? Complexity what? That graph we drew with the lines going up there and the lines going down there. Anyone? Conundrum, thanks for helping him out. So up here on the complexity conundrum, we're not talking about that. We know that right down here, we can find these properties for free on the open market. Auctions, modern auctions, stale properties on Rightmove, they're out there for you. Referrals, friends, family, people on social media. Is that helpful, Joe? So you don't need to spend a penny. Now, did anyone's grandparents call going to the loo spend a penny? Yeah, mine did too. I was like, yeah, we're going for an ice cream. That's just a little in-joke between old-fashioned grandparents. This morning, I'm going to go through how you can do direct-to-vendor marketing and how you can increase the likelihood of getting properties up here. But what are we not going to do when we're focusing up here? We're not going to forget about the down here. We're not going to ignore these. We're going to keep buying these as well. Okay? Did that answer your question, Joe? Any other questions on planning? I don't want you to massively change yesterday's plan. You might add a little bit to it, but I certainly don't want you taking anything away from yesterday's plan. Yesterday's plan is solid. Go do that, but you might add a bit on top. Yes, Jamie?
Mine's about, when we touched on auctions.
Yes.
So if we're pulling money out of an existing property,
yeah,
as a deposit, what's the process with mortgage lenders or lenders in general to get the funds to go to the auction? I mean, is it like a mortgage in principle, or will they give you a mortgage in principle if you go into an auction purchasing it all?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question, quite a tactical question. Ordinarily, if you go for a mortgage at the moment, it's probably going to take you 10 to 12 weeks to get a normal mortgage. The difficulty is when you go to auction, they want a 28-day completion, maybe a 56-day completion. They're not going to give you 10 to 12 weeks. The other problem is some properties that I'm trying to get mortgages on, it's taken me 6 to 9 months because a mortgage fails and they go, actually, we don't like the look of this. And sometimes it's the mortgage company. They have a pot of money, so they create a product because they need to lend it, but then they have too many applications for that pot of money, so then they have to say no to some people. So they keep asking questions until they fall over, and then they go, right, we're not lending to you, not lending to you. So I have quite a few. The difficulty with auction is you have exchange contracts at the fall of the gavel. So you can't go to auction hoping to get a mortgage. That's really risky.
What about modern auction? You know what they call it, a modern auction?
Modern auction is completely different.
Right, okay.
A modern auction.
Sorry, that is what I meant, Mike.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay, gotcha. So modern auction, you can say, yeah, I'm happy to buy it, subject to getting a mortgage, and then you can go apply for the mortgage, yeah.
It's that straightforward with it, is it? Really?
Yeah, and they might say, well, we'll give you 5 days to get an offer, or we'll
right.
you know, and then it's a bit of a negotiation.
Because when I'm sifting through all the properties, there's so many coming up now, you know, modern auction.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. Yeah, so yes, you can on those. A conventional auction in a room, I'd be really wary. Yeah, okay. Mahmood.
Yeah, what you said about you because I'm taking action, I don't agree with that because like, I already spoke to Helen yesterday and we're like, you know, I'm ready to move, it's just time, that's the only thing.
Good.
And I've taken a lot of action since we've met, a lot. So,
Poke the bear now, haven't I?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, mate.
Don't agree with that.
I'm loving you to prove me wrong, prove me completely wrong, go smash it.
It's only a time thing, it's not about I'm worried about doing it, it's just like the amount going on. So like the fact that I've got something to say, go do this, or here's one ready.
Mate,
goodbye.
you're here with a log in your eye, like your commitment is not in doubt. So good, Mahmood, I love it. Right, finding properties. So we're going to go to the next level now, okay, which is based on last night's equation. Now, I know a few people were tired last night, but when we did our deals after dinner, what did I draw on the flip chart? I said most people focus on this, but actually the really good deals, you need to focus on this. Ty?
Was it vendor?
Yeah. So where do most people focus? Property, they jump on Rightmove, yeah? Which we know is absolutely fine and that we can make really good money and we can buy deals, good deals, by focusing on the property. But to get really, really juicy, no money down, no money left in deals, we're going to need to focus on the vendor. And then we can create a deal. So we start with the vendor, then we look at the property. And to be honest, we don't care what the property is. And this is a bit different now because yesterday's plan, you were looking for a specific type of property because it's all there. It's like a massive buffet, right? And you're like, oh, am I having salad or am I having the samosas over here or am I having this? It's like a bit bewildering. So what we did is we walked away from the buffet and went, right, I'm going to have a 2-bedroom terrace property at this price point and I'm going to let it to this. Right, now you look at the buffet and you go, ah, there it is. Great, that's what I want. Or those are the 3 things. I'm going to whack a load of offers in. I know what I want. But this time, when we're doing direct to vendor, so that was when we were focusing on the property first. And this time, this morning, we're going to focus on the vendor first. And these go hand in hand really well, okay? It's not either or. Because if it's either or, you're up here doing not enough deals, or you're down here. What we know is we can do both. So when you're focusing on the vendor, what you actually go is, I'm going to walk into the buffet in a minute, and I'm just going to look, I'm going to be interested in any food, but it's the vendors that are really motivated that I'm interested in. So you let all the vendors in your goldmine area know, I'm here and I can help. And it doesn't matter if they've got a garage, Doesn't matter if they've got a piece of land, if they've got a 2-bedroom house, a 5-bedroom house, a hotel, makes no odds. Now we're interested in it, so long as the vendor is motivated. Do you see how that's completely different? So specific property that fits your criteria, or motivated vendor. Those are the 2 things you're always looking for. Any questions? Good. I have sent you a 100-page manual this morning. I'm going to be referring to about 10 pages out of that manual, okay? And you can look at it, you can not look at it. I've printed off the 10 pages, so I'll be giving those to you as and when we use them. It doesn't matter how you find these people. It doesn't matter at all. They can come from a referral, they can come from a leaflet, they can come from a newspaper advert. I'll share some of our marketing with you in a minute. They can come from a post office poster. They can come from, you know, in the newsagents where you have a little postcard and you go like, you know, children's bike for sale, 20 quid. It can come from those. Some of my franchisees have those handwritten in 100 different shops in their Goldmine area. And they just, you know, it's 20p a week or 50p a week. They just put it in for 2 years. And then every 2 years they walk around and renew them. You can do that. It doesn't matter where it is at all, so long as people know you're there to help them. What I normally say is if you've driven 10 minutes to get here this morning, and I know some of you have driven a lot more, you've driven past more motivated sellers than you can buy from in the next 12 months. They are everywhere. The problem is they don't know where you are. And so we'll go through some of the marketing strategies, but this is the bit that people struggle with the most. Why would someone, or let me ask you a different question. You've spent a day with me now, and some of you a lot more. Do you think that of all the probably couple of 100 properties I've bought now, some of which I've sold on, do you think I've sat and ripped off those vendors? No. Thanks, JJ. You were very quick to say that. I appreciate that. Thank you. No, there we go. So I'm not. I've never ripped someone off. I've always achieved a win-win, where I've helped them and I've made money by providing a really high quality service. So if I've not ripped them off, there must be a really good reason for them selling at 20, 25, 30% below market value. Agreed? Give me a thumbs up if you think there must be good reasons. Great. In pairs, jot down as many reasons as you can think of. Why would someone sell below market value or, 25% below market value? Okay. Let me run through these reasons. You've got this in your manual, okay? These are ones I sat down with clients and we came up with 42 different reasons people sell to us, okay? And it's really interesting. And I've stopped trying to guess why people are doing it. I just ask them now. I ask why they're selling, and I'll talk through it in a moment. Death, probate, the kids just want the money. They don't want top dollar. They just want to move on. Sometimes the house is full of like really painful memories. I've had one vendor who couldn't cross the threshold. Like she had some kind of trauma that she couldn't actually go into the house, and she just wanted it sold.
Or if there's lots of children. Who said that yesterday?
Yeah, by the way, lots of children's an interesting one, because if you're knocking 25% off and it's a 100 grand house, it's 25,000 pounds you're knocking off, right? But if there's 5 kids, it's 5 grand each. Like, it's not as painful for them. It's interesting. Divorcing couples. I've had a couple that were living in the same house for 2 years. They both had new relationships. They couldn't afford to move out, but they're like still living together. It's a real service to be able to help them. People moving overseas, relocating jobs. Sometimes they get so much money to move, like everything's paid for them. They're being helped so much on the next house, and they're so focused on that move and that new career. Like I've invested in Derby quite a lot. Derby's got 30,000 Rolls-Royce employees, and they go all over the world. And sometimes they're like, we just don't want this negativity of that. It's stressful for them to leave a house empty. They don't want to be a landlord. They're going to go earn the big bucks in Canada or wherever, and they just want done with it, and we can do that for them. elderly people going into like supported accommodation, changing jobs. So sometimes they'll go and, you know, if you think of pub owners, I've had that before where they have to go, they've got a job to manage a pub, they have to go live in that pub. Lots of people, you might think, well, logically, just rent your house out. But lots of people don't want to. Poor health, so they want to move into a bungalow. I've had that before. People facing repossession. Often, they can sell to us at a much better price than the bank will repossess their house at. And the problem with repossession is it doesn't absolve them of the responsibility. So if they owe 70k on a property and we can buy it at 75, they'll actually get £5,000. Does that make sense? Yeah, and they'll walk away with that, and that might be a deposit on the house to rent. They won't have been made, they won't have been repossessed. Excuse me. So they'll still pass the credit check for the letting agent, so they can move in. Now that's a really big deal. If they get to choose when they move out, not the bailiffs, they get to pick the house in the same catchment where their kids currently go to school. Like, that could be quite a smooth transition. Not ideal, obviously, but actually day to day, they're still eating, they're still sleeping in a bed, kids are still at the same school, they can carry on working, and their credit score is not being obliterated. Compared to just waiting 3 months, me not buying their house, us not buying their house, the bank repossessing, the bailiffs kicking them out, their credit score being shot to pieces, and then, and this is really, really harsh, then the bank sells their property through an auction. Now they're supposed to get best price for it, but they'll put it on the market for a bit. The agent might do a rubbish job. Then, and by the way, the first thing they do is they wrap all tape around the taps and the toilet to say do not use. They turn all the utilities off. So as soon as you walk into one, you're like, oh, this is a repo. Right, I knocked 10% off straight away of what I was going to pay. So people under offer because they know the bank couldn't care less. So let's just say they get 65 grand instead of the 75 we were going to pay. Plus there's a bunch of legal fees that they're also liable for. So let's say that net the bank takes 60, even though it's sold at 65. The poor vendor who's already been repossessed is now liable for 10 grand more. And they'll be bankrupted. The lender will bankrupt them. So now they won't just fail a credit check, they won't be able to get credit for a mobile phone for about 3 or 4 years. Mortgage will take over 5 years. Like it's really, really hard. So they can have more money and move on a lot more smoothly and have no stress because we're just going to buy the house from them. And we can liaise with the lenders as well. The number of people I go, do you know what, Nicola? You never have to speak to your mortgage lender again. Let's give them a quick call and we'll phone them, put it on speakerphone. You'll go through all security, and then I'll prep you to say, I'm with my friend Frank. Can I give you permission to speak on my behalf? And then on speakerphone, because it's really important that she hears what I'm saying to them. You don't want to go like this, because now she's a bit worried about, oh, what have I just done? Hi, I'm Frank. I'm going to speak permanently on this account now. I'm going to be liaising with you instead of Nicola. She's finding this really difficult to do. What information do you need? What permissions? Nicola's right here. No, that's fine, Mr. Flegg. We've got you on the account now. Can I give you my mobile number so you contact me rather than Nick? Absolutely. They have to protect the individual. And now she's like, oh, thank you, Frank. Thank you that I don't need to speak to them again. Don't worry, Nicola. We're going to buy it as quick as we can, but it might not be 28 days. It might be 2 months, might be 10 weeks, that's fine, because I'm going to liaise with them, I'll keep them up to speed. And now we're all good. Like, can you see how that's worth a lot of money to someone? Great. Emigrating, we talked about the woman going to New Zealand yesterday. They don't want to deal with estate agents. I have had someone sell me a property 25% below, and don't get hung up on 25%. It's a logarithmic scale. Who knows what a logarithmic scale is? Just JJ, tell us, JJ.
Logarithmic scale is the power to which you need to raise a number in order to get another number.
Whew, get her. Yeah, I reckon, yeah. So I was going to do a much shitter explanation than that. So basically, an example of a logarithmic scale is like the Richter scale, right? So if you've got a scale, a level 1 earthquake and a level 2 and a level 3, you'd think, well, that's like, you know, a bit stronger. But no, each time it's 10 times stronger. It's the same. So if you want to do a 75% loan to value deal, it's 10 times easier to do an 80% deal, and it's 10 times easier than that to do an 85% deal. So just remember that when you're thinking about opportunity cost. If you're like, no, I'm going to hold out. I know this vendor said they can accept 20% below, but I'm going to hold out because I want one at 25% below. Well, it's 10 times harder. You're going to probably say goodbye to 9 vendors before you find one at 25% below. So just remember that about doing these deals. So when I say 25%, in your head, think 20% or 15% or even 10%, because we know we're still going to smash it even at 10% or 5%. So I've had people that will sell, that have sold to me 25% below in order to avoid a £2,000 estate agent's bill. That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. But that's really important to them. So they don't need a board outside. They don't have people walking through their house. People can be really funny about people coming and, like, you know, kicking the tyres and the nosy neighbours and all that. They can avoid all that with me. Do it completely anonymously. We used to be allowed, you're not allowed to now, we used to be allowed to buy their house and then rent it back off us, and no one would know. They just suddenly have a load of extra money because we bought it from them, but you're not allowed to do sell and rent back anymore. Sorry?
Really, that's bonkers, isn't it?
What?
Not being able to rent your own property back if you've sold it to someone.
Yeah.
Sorry, why is that?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Hands up if you knew you couldn't do sell and rent back. 2 of you. So what used to happen, so I've done a few of these when it was allowed. I still have a guy really happily in my house. What used to happen is I'd buy Jamie's house, and the only way I've ever done it is I've rented it back to him at market value. So 100 grand house, rent it back to him at 600 quid a month. The difficulty, and what I've said to him is, look, if you pay your rent every month, you're the best tenant in the world because you've owned this house. You know everything about it. You look, it's beautiful. You're going to keep it to this standard. So I want you to stay forever. And you know that I'm only buying it to rent it out. So you know that I'm going to rent it to you. It's a really equitable, fair way of doing the deal. The problem is there are bastards out there that don't do it like that. So what they would do is they go, Jamie, would you rather like have it rent free? Yeah. Well, instead of me buy it off you at 75%, let me buy it off you at 40%. And then you never pay rent again. So they do that, and then they go, actually, Jamie, I'm going to put someone else in at $650 a month and kick him out. And so people are losing their houses. And of course, Jamie is sophisticated, but little Mrs. Smith down the road just thought that well, I'm not going to use me as an example because I wouldn't have done it, but what the bastard property investor said was going to be true. Or even worse, and this happened a lot, they'd buy a load of properties, all at 40%, 50%. They'd get mortgages on them at 75%, so they'd take out all that cash and then leave. Not actually pay the mortgages. So poor Jamie and Mrs. Jones all get repossessed, and they've walked off with all the money, and that happened as well. So it was right. The FCA brought it in and stopped it. Republic of Ireland didn't bring it in. Republic of Ireland didn't bring it in. You can still do it in Republic of Ireland, but yeah, interesting. They want to buy another property. I've had that before. They just need their deposit really quick. They really want to buy the next property. People wanting to set up a new business. People want the whole package. They just want it done easy. Two parties getting together. I've had that a couple of times actually, where, you know, two lovers have got their own houses and they want to go buy one together, and it's just, that's the priority. Like that's their driving force. And they're like, it's been on the market for ages, we're still living separate, we just want to go buy this house, and we've worked out, a bit like Luke, you know, there's 5 people taking a £5 grand hit each. It's a bit like that, like, actually, we're both taking 25%, but we don't need that much to go buy this next one. Property too small, seen another property, so they just want to buy it, especially in a rising market, competitive market. They want to move in. This is interesting, if they're moving in with someone and there's a big house that they want to look after a parent often, they don't need their house, they might sell. They want to go travel the world. If the property's not mortgaged, they can sell for whatever they want. They've lost a job and can't pay the mortgage, they need to sell quickly. They've seen the dream property, want to move to a new area. Trauma was one of them there. sales fallen through, robbery, don't want to stay in the property. That's happened to me. They just want to be gone. People separating, blighted property. If there's a problem with it, if it's got subsidence, if it's unmortgageable, they can't sell on the open market. Whereas what I will sometimes do is I will fix the problem while they own it. So I'll spend 5, 10, 20 grand, whatever, doing whatever, and then I'll buy it from them. And people won't do that. It's like, well, why would I spend 20 grand on your house? Well, because we put some bits of paper in place that you sign and I sign that means that my 20 grand is protected. But how many people would do that? You know, the other reason sometimes is someone needs to move out on a specific date in 3.5 months' time. And you go, yeah, I can move on that date. We can exchange now, and then we'll complete on that exact date. No other buyer would do that necessarily. Failed to sell at auction, not fit for purpose. I can go through them all, but you've got them. Did you get the idea, yeah? Cool. Any questions?
Sorry, thank you. I saw one there saying environmental.
Yeah.
Things like, I don't know, you're in an area that floods a lot, or...
Yeah, they might be fed up with that. I've never done that, but yeah, that would perhaps work. To be honest, guys, it's any reason that exists. And what I mean by that is when you start the conversation with these people, you ask them why they're selling. And whatever reason they give you, so long as it's the real reason, and I'll train you in how to find out if it's the real reason, you're laughing.
Do you get many people sort of, I don't want to tell you, Frank?
No. No, but we'll do that in role play in a minute. Would you like to move on to the role play? Yeah, cool. Joe?
Can you rent to family members?
What, your own family members?
Yes.
No.
Can you rent to in-laws? Or like cousins? I'm just curious.
Never rent to friends or family if you want them to remain so.
Right. So this is, you've got all this in the manual, right? But this is the kind of marketing that we do. And I'm just going to point out, now some of you are much better at marketing than me, some of you are better at writing copy than me, but this is, and you have our actual examples in this manual. Photo of you, if you want the best conversion rates. Now some of you straight away will go, oh, I don't want my photo on there, don't want my name, don't want your actual address. Yes, your actual address. If you want the best return from your marketing spend, because I've tested it. And most companies are yellow and black and red and black. Like I want to buy your house, no photos, no address, all anonymous, just a URL or a phone number, you know. Call today, Samantha. It's always a white British woman's name because that's statistically what will get you the best return. Doesn't work very well when Fred phones up, you know, and I thought it's Samantha. Yeah, well, it's Fred today, you know, and then clearly it's just Fred, and Fred turns up at their front door and stuff. But it's up to you, because you don't have to do any of this, right? Because you can do this just from the properties on the market, so it's completely up to you. People get hung up on that, like, oh, I can't do property then because I don't want to put my photo on. Well, just do it without your photo. You just won't get quite as good a response. You'll still get a decent response. So photo, your actual address, and this is the basic message, and you'll see in all these adverts, it just basically says, I can buy really quickly between 7 and 28 days. We've got, by the way, you can now use the royal we. We have bought property in under 7 days. 6 days is my record from start to finish. We were ready earlier, but they weren't ready. I can buy with cash so you don't get messed up. You might think, I can't buy with cash. Yeah, you can. Any one of you could bring me a property today and go, Frank, we need to buy this. What day? It's Monday today. We need to buy this by the end of Friday. And I go, great, let's buy it cash. If it was cheap enough. It doesn't mean we'll pay 75%. It might be 40%. Might be 35%. Might be 45%. But we could buy cash by the end of today. Any property in the UK, we could buy by the end of this week cash. Just at what price? But you can go make that cash offer because you all have my mobile number. And if you had a good enough deal, I'd put my cash into it. Do you understand? Really important to have that belief, because people are like, oh, I can't put that one in because I've only got X amount. What if it was £1 million house? Well, buy it for 100 grand. Now you could find fucking 100 grand, couldn't you, if it's £1 million house? And if you can't, phone me. We pay all your estate agent and solicitor's fees. It's amazing the psychological difference that has, that there's nothing. Literally, the offer we make you is the amount you get in your bank account at the end of the deal. People really appreciate that. There's no viewings, no time wasters, no people coming to have a poke around your home. There's no board outside or advert in the paper. By the way, we have used this copy millions of times, literally millions of times. So before you go and change it, I'd suggest just using it verbatim because it really does work, and I know my conversion rate. So I know if you deliver 10,000 leaflets, how many phone calls you should get. But feel free to, once you get a baseline with your marketing that we use, to then test and measure against it. There's no board outside or advert in the paper, just a fast, smooth, relaxed, confidential sale. And then you can put a lander on there if you want to or not. These are obviously some of our old ones. Here's a little challenge for you. So these were for sale boards. I used to put a for sale board outside that wasn't a for sale board. It was another happy seller. So I've just bought this house. Would you like to sell yours as well? That was when I used to wear a suit. Whew. Which of those? A, B, C, D. Which is going to perform the best? Write down a letter. A, B, C, D. Which one do you think performs best? Everyone written down a letter? And Eve, which one do you reckon? You went for B, so you went this one. Claire? D. D down here. Ty?
I went A.
You went A up here. We've got 3 answers and 3 different answers at the moment. The long and short of it is you don't know. With marketing, you just don't know. Now I know, because we've tested these loads and loads, this one outperforms those 3 by at least 4 times. It's 400% better. Interesting. But you just don't know, do you? So it's that one. Do I know why? Do you know, one of the biggest reasons is where it sits in the paper. So if you go to the back of the paper, there's red and yellow and black. It's all really, and this one, you see this in the metro. I've seen my clients using this in London actually, which is interesting. And I was like, why are you advertising in London? It's because it goes on the train, and the train goes to London, but actually it's come from the East Midlands. It stands out. That one stands out amongst all the noise. It stands out, and I think it would stand out even more if you put your photo on there as well. Oh, who's this guy looking at me?
But you're also using the word you and putting the focus on them, not yourself.
That's very true. Absolutely. Whereas like this one's all about me, yeah? Cool. So this, we talked about direct marketing letters. So is your property taking too long to sell? Long copy letter there. That would work really well for stale properties on Rightmove. So if you're finding the addresses like you were yesterday, it might just be one of your strategies to spend 2-3 hours a week posting those letters, always signed in blue ink, blue handwritten envelope, proper stamp, not franked. But you could pay someone to do that. An admin assistant could do that for you a day a week. Just bang them all out. They could find them for you. They could pop them out. You had a question, mate?
My property went stale on Rightmove, my home, and I got 5 or 6 of those.
Yeah. Cool. That's Facebook ad. And with this, go with whatever's easier for you. Like at the time that I was doing that, I wasn't very good at Facebook, but some of you are amazing at Facebook ads. So go with what you're good at. You're amazing at pay-per-click. You could go pay-per-click in your goldmine area, landing page, your face, your address. You'd outperform all the nationals. Because then the thing with a local pay-per-click campaign, for example, or Facebook, etc., is you can sit there going, this is my address, which might be in your goldmine area, or you can have an office, you can have a virtual office for 50 quid a month, which is an actual address, local phone number, and you can go, I'm looking to buy 2-bedroom terraced houses in, and you pick a really tight geographical area of like 5 or 10 streets. If you're in that situation you'd like to sell, give me a call, I'd love to come and have a coffee. The nationals can't do that with their 6-figure marketing budgets because they'd have to have hundreds of thousands of adverts to be that specific. So you just play to your strengths, right? And if you don't know what PPC is, pay-per-click, don't fucking do it. You're not very good at it, right? But if you're really good at whatever, Facebook or leaflets or whatever, then go do that one. You don't have to do all of this. someone on that table had their hand up. Adam.
In terms of the nationals, so you're offering, you're aiming at that 75%
Yeah.
market value. What's their target?
Well, they'll be aiming for 75% as well, but some of them are really unethical. And there's a reason I called my company Ethical Property Partners, and there's a reason there's ethical local property investor on the bottom of all my ads, because I wanted to differentiate myself. They'll start at 85%. So they'll go, oh yeah, we can give you up to 85%, and then they'll chip away, whereas I don't like that. I like just being upfront about it. Yeah. Joe, you had a question?
Yes. So you're finding these gold mine areas, and one of my questions has been in the back of my mind about like dialect, about accents really.
Yeah.
And like aversion to people who aren't from their areas, so to speak. So if I'm, in Norfolk and the Americans are coming, like, that's just been pretty general. Like.
Oh, that just makes me laugh. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd like wear your stars and stripes, and your cowboy boots. Yeah. Yeah, do you know what? It's interesting. It's a valid point. So, I had my Serbian team doing sales calls for G-Force, for the martial arts, and they were getting an awful response, like really bad. So I did some more training with them, and we recorded some of their calls, and I did live calls, and I'm thinking, I'm getting a really good response. Now, I'm pretty good at sales. I've studied it for years. I've studied, how to build rapport and stuff, but it didn't make any sense. And so then we started listening to each other's calls, and what I worked out is they were saying it with the right intonation, they were using the right words, they were really positive. It was how racist the person on the other end of the phone was. As soon as they heard a Serbian accent, and they didn't know it was Serbia, they just knew it was a call centre overseas, so that was their perception, even though it's a person in their bedroom actually. But if that person had an English accent anywhere else in the world, they'd be fine, I will come to you, mate. But because it was different, they were just treated different. They were more abrupt, they were ruder. It's really interesting, really interesting. So, Joe, to answer your question, yeah, I think it will be harder for you. I genuinely do, because you don't sound local. Now, I don't sound local to Norfolk, and funnily enough, I had a franchisee who was local to Norfolk, and he did fucking amazingly. But I've bought property all over the country, and my accent's pretty neutral. It used to be quite Cockney, but it's actually gone over the last maybe 20 years. So I think it sounds quite neutral now. Some people put me as American, funnily enough, and some people think I have a slight Australian twang. But I don't know if you saw in that photo. No, that's the more recent photo. I started off when I was 26, and that was hard because I was sat with 55, 60, 65-year-olds. And this 26-year-old, it was hard to convince them that I was serious and I could buy their property. So I had to overcome that. And I always say, fortunately, my hair receded really quick, so I looked older quicker. I don't have that problem now. I've probably not had that problem for about at least 8 years. But yeah, we all have stuff that's going to make it harder for us, for sure. When I first started properly buying, I remember my mum came and visited, and I said, Mum, I'm so sorry, I've got a few appointments to go to. And by the time she got there, I had 3 vendors to see. I signed up 3 vendors. I took her with me. I said, look, you can sit at home or you can come with me. She said, I'd love to see what you did. So we went round and she sat with me in 3 vendors' houses. I signed all of them up. I said, I need to take you on more appointments, Mum. But I had a little boy, little Frank Jr. I used to take him on appointments. I used to, because my ex worked and I worked, I used to drive around to their houses. I'd change him on the back seat. I'd have breast milk in a cooler and a thermos flask, and then I'd warm it up and feed him, and then I'd take him into the appointment. My conversion rate went up when I had Frankie with me, because it's like, well, this guy can't be an arsehole. Look, he's got a little boy. They used to give him gifts. Like, oh, does he want some toys? We've got some toys upstairs and that. It's hilarious. No, he hasn't still got it, but he used to. So Frank's autistic, and so he like gets attached to stuff. And he used to have this pink dog with like a solid lead, so it looked like a Flegg, but it was solid. And you could walk the dog around. And he had that for years. He had that till he was about 8. He got it when he was about 2. And then it was like he was a toddler, and I couldn't take it. And then there was 2 of them because they're 22 months apart, so I couldn't take 2 of them on appointments. So that made it harder. But my point is, yes, it will make it slightly harder, Joe, but you're phenomenal at building rapport. Like, the sales skills you have are unbelievable. You'll be fine.
I mean, I have a mother-in-law from Norfolk, and she sounds like she's from Norfolk.
So maybe she does your calls for you then?
Well, I was wondering, like, should I have a British person on the...
Yeah, so I don't know the answer,
Yeah.
but what I do know is it's
Or
easily...
can I just sound like I'm from the 18th century whenever I pretend.
There we go. Yeah, work on your accent. Yeah. You're an actress. So my point is it's easily overcomeable, but how will you overcome it? That's to your preference. So that's that one. This, I just draw your attention to, and I don't want to overwhelm you, right? Don't get overwhelmed. You can do one of these, you can do none of these, because what did we agree yesterday? You've already got everything you need to go make loads of money in property. This is a strategic alliance marketing letter. So this was not far off what we wrote, Helen. And how many people did you send it to?
About 600.
Helen and I wrote an email. You wrote it. I played around with it. You didn't quite like it, so you changed it a bit more. And then she sent it out. And that's fair, right? Because it's coming from her to her clients. It was around that, but we played around with it. If you're comfortable, could you share it in the group? Would you mind? Would you like to see the actual letter? So you could see the actual one that we used a few weeks ago. And what you're going to see is there might be a spelling mistake in there. You might think, oh, that's not great copy. It's because she spent half an hour and I spent half an hour. We didn't sit for 5 days perfecting it. But here's what we did do. We took action. 600 emails. It was just one email, wasn't it? To 600 people. It looks like we're going to do 6 deals. 1% conversion rate. And so if you're thinking, crikey, who do I know who's an estate agent? Now here's a question. How many of you could phone an estate agent right now, this is a proper question, and they would know your name? Think about it. Friends, family, friends of friends. You might have them in your phone. How many? I want to see number of fingers if it's more than one person. How many estate agents could you phone and they would know your name right now? One. Be brave. Be brave. Are you different agents? Same one. Same one. Just one finger per agent. I want to know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did you have one or not? 13, 14. Did I count you already? I think I counted you already. 15, not sure. 15. There's not even 30 of us in the room. That's unbelievable. And all I'm saying is, how much would you pay to do that? I'd pay you, if we weren't doing a joint venture, I'd pay you £1 an email. 600 quid for that. Do you not think there are estate agents in the country that would go, fucking hell, yes please? Nothing else. All they have to do is say, if you want to speak to them, like this is a company that we're working with. They offer a different service where they guarantee to make you an offer within 48 hours. If you're interested, his name is Frank Flegg and here's his number. £1 an email. Some of those 15 agents would go with that, no doubt about it. Or, how much would you be willing to pay for each completed deal? I'd pay £1,000 a deal. £6,000 for sending one email, that's it. Your office need not have done any extra work, need they? It could have come straight to me and I could just let you know, right, we've spoken to, how many have we spoken to, 30 odd?
Yeah, well, yeah, I probably spoke to about 20 out of the 35 that replied.
35 responded out of 600. That's an incredible. Now, these aren't special landlords. These are just landlords, aren't they? Now, if that's not an indication of how many are wanting to offload their portfolios, I don't know what is. 35 people got in touch, and we spoke to 20 odd of them. We've gone out to see, you probably know the stats better than me. Do you know how many we went out to see?
I think we've had discovery calls for about 12.
And how many have we gone out to see, do you know? 10?
Yeah, virtually.
Been out to 6, so spoken to 20 odd, been out to see 10, and it looks like we're doing deals with 6. A couple might fall through, might end up with 4. So strategic alliance could be good. This is probably the most reliable place to get deals, and that's leaflets put through people's doors. That is the 14th edition of my leaflet. I don't have a better version. Tested and measured all 14 of them. That's the one that works the best. Black and white, 80 GSM paper. That's exactly the paper we're giving you here. Folded once with your photo upwards, so folded with the print on the outside, photo upwards, push through the letterbox so it lands with your photo looking up at them. That's how we deliver our leaflets. Solus delivery, that means the leaflet delivery company are only delivering your leaflet. It's not going inside a pizza leaflet, so the pizza leaflet goes in the bin and they don't even know yours was there. You can use Royal Mail. It won't then be Solus, but it will get delivered. I prefer to use a leaflet delivery company. It will cost you about 10p to get it printed and delivered. The delivery is the expensive bit, probably 8p a leaflet to get it delivered. For every, depends on the area of the country, for every 10,000 or so leaflets, you'll get about 10 phone calls. Go out and see maybe 4 or 5 people and get one deal. It's a rough rule of thumb. 10,000 leaflets. 10,000 leaflets should get you about 10 phone calls, so 1 in 1,000 leaflets. Bearing in mind, this goes to every single house in your goldmine area. So not the ones that are for sale, this is just every single property. So loads of people are going to say, oh no, I don't want to sell my house, in the bin. 1 phone call per 1,000 leaflets, about 10 phone calls from 10,000 leaflets, and then you probably go out and see 4 or 5 from 10 phone calls, depends how good you are on the phone. And then you should be closing anywhere between 1 in 4 and 1 in 2, depending on how good you are. Some of my franchisees close better than me, got high conversion rates. I average about half of the ones I go out to, I'll sign up. And then, you know, sometimes you sign it up and you're going through and then it falls through, but that's quite rare because they're so motivated. Any questions on that at all?
Sorry, what's the bit at the bottom there?
This is a coupon. It says, quote the code below when you call and I will pay you £250 cash in advance if you decide to sell. Do you know the funny thing? People don't respond to that. Probably 1 in 10 people will go, oh yeah, what about this 250 quid? We go, because I say most people don't notice it, most people don't say anything. Because you've mentioned it, I'll add 250 quid to the price. Oh. Any other questions?
When you say you leaflet your goldmine area, just obviously using a leafleting company.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you can't say to them just post it to semi-detached houses or just terraced houses.
No, you're absolutely right. You're going to only target. You're going to target every property in your goldmine area. It's too expensive. So the cost is in having the person walk around. So there we go. So if they're already walking around, it's pointless for them to go, is this one Luke likes? Oh, I'm not, no. What about this one? By the time they've done all that, bearing in mind this is someone who's on minimum wage, it's just like leaflet, 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 leaflet. And it depends, they can do about 300 an hour if it's terrace on the pavement. So literally, you know those where you step out of the house and you're on the pavement. If it's like an ex-local authority where it's a 20-foot driveway, that's obviously a lot slower for them. They'll drop to like 100 an hour, something like that. So.
Do you then disqualify them if they're not the ones that you're looking for? So if someone says, yeah, I've got a 5-bedroom house that actually I want to get.
Who can answer that?
If it's a good deal.
If they're motivated, we buy it. So we offer on everything. Offer on everything. Remember, if you're focusing on the property, you focus on your chosen property from yesterday. If you're doing direct to vendor, it's whatever they've got to sell. I've negotiated on stuff in Spain before. Someone said, look, I've got a house in Spain. Are you interested? Yep. What's it worth? And you just have the conversation. I will come to you, sorry, Ed and then Sam. I leafleted in Nottingham and I'll share this with you, right? Oh, this is doing my nut. There we go. So and I share this with you, not because it makes me look Good. It makes me look shit. But because I want to encourage you just to take action. So about 8 years ago, I knew I wanted a holiday let to live in, rather, a holiday home. And I went on holiday and I was like, I'm just going to take some action. So what I did is I printed off. No, that was it. I phoned the office and I said, will you get a couple of thousand of these leaflets printed off for me and just get them shipped up to me? I was there for a week or something, and a couple of days in, I was really enjoying my running. I was going for a long run on the beach every morning. And so I phoned the office and I jiggled the flyer that you've just seen. And it said, like, I'm just on holiday here for a week. I want to buy one house. If you're interested, give me a call and I'll pop over for a coffee. Like, I changed our normal leaflet. 95% of it was the same. And it even said, I'm on holiday here in Flegg and I've seen your house and I wondered if you wanted to sell it. And obviously I didn't have a leaflet delivery company or anything. So I emailed that to the office. They got a printer to do like a couple of thousand. Normally we do 100,000, but like a couple of thousand. And they shipped it up to me. And I just went for long walks of a morning before the family got up. So I was like, posting them through all the letterboxes. I didn't get a property. I did get a beach house, but I didn't get it through that leaflet drop, because out of 2,000 leaflets, 2 phone calls, right? And I did get 1 phone call out of like 1,500 leaflets, but I didn't convert it. But I just wanted to have a crack at it. And I had a phone call about 2 months later, and I did the whole telephone fact find. So I'm back off holiday and I'm back marketing in Nottingham. We're delivering leaflets in Nottingham through our normal companies. And the person said, great, I look forward to seeing you, Frank, on Thursday at 10 a.m. And they said, by the way, why does your leaflet talk about Flegg? I was like, what? So no, I'd looked. We'd printed, 100,000 leaflets that we delivered to Nottingham saying, I want a beach house. I'm on holiday in Flegg. And they were still phoning us. We were still doing like, we hadn't had a massive drop off. So if you're thinking like the wording needs to be spot on and that, don't worry about it. I always phone my competitors' leaflets. If a leaflet drops on one of my, I phone it. The number of times the number doesn't actually go anywhere, like they've not connected it, but they've paid someone to deliver it. There's landing pages where it goes to a 404 error. It's really common. So don't worry if there's loads of competition. Don't worry about the other ads in the paper. You'll still just take action. And if that's not a lesson to encourage you to take action, I don't know what is. Right. We've been going an hour. I want you to... 2 questions.
Really quick question.
Yes.
Is it A4, A5 leaflets?
Always A4, black and white.
You're saying leaflets are the best way?
It's the most reliable way, and part of it is I know I've done more leafleting marketing than anything else. It works in most goldmine areas, followed by newspaper. And if you are struggling with the leafleting, because I'm so experienced at it, I can help you a lot more with it. And like, if you're not getting enough phone calls, I know it's because the leaflet's not being delivered. So I can then tell you how to check, on your leaflet delivery company, swap leaflet delivery companies, etc. If your phone conversations aren't going very well and you're not booking, it's called a help visit, that when you go out to see someone's house, then I know how to coach the telephone fact find better. But if it's come from a Facebook lead, that Facebook leads are nowhere near as committed as someone who's picked up the phone from a leaflet. So the conversation on the phone, and I wouldn't be as good at coaching. Of course I coach you, but there'd be a lot more trial and error. Whereas because every single franchisee I've ever had have started with leafleting, I just know it inside out. So that's all I'm suggesting. Some areas I will come to you. Is that a question? Yeah, Nicola, will come to you. Some areas leafleting just doesn't work, but you don't really know until you've done about 20,000 leaflets. If you've got 3 phone calls off 20,000 leaflets and they've actually been delivered, then we know it's not working. So then we'd go to newspaper advertising. Typically, you do 2 or 3 marketing strategies anyway, because they all complement each other. If Nicola receives my leaflet and it's got my photo on it and it's, ethical local property investor Frank Flegg, and then she's in the post office and she's got an A3 poster that is basically, you notice it's all the same branding, it's all black and white, it's all got the same photo on it, and she sees that, and then it pops up on her Facebook. Well, she's going to phone me. She's far more likely. I will come to you, Nev, next. Did that answer your question, Ed?
So you haven't had as much luck with internet marketing?
I've not done as much.
Right.
I've never invested in internet marketing for property. I think it would be really successful. But if you're going to do that, don't do that on its own, because it might be shit. We don't know. So do something that we know works, whilst testing something that may work.
I'm just thinking as an armoury strategy, one of my greatest advantages will be connection because of my job being a hairdresser in the area where I'm buying. So then would you not, I'll utilise my email list obviously and tell them that this might be something that I'm doing. But then could you not, I've got multiple friends with email lists, so is that
amazing? So that's strategic alliances, which we talked about. It doesn't have to be an estate agent. It can just be people with local email addresses. Guys, as you know, give me an example of the industry one of your friends has.
I've got personal training friends.
Personal trainers, right? So guys, as you know, I'm passionate about personal training, but I'm also passionate about helping people. Now, my very good friend Nicola buys properties in the area, and she was mentioning a lot of people are struggling at the moment with cost of living. So I just wanted to send this out. If you want, Nicola's an expert at helping people who are trying to sell their house and struggling. She also specialises in buying houses. If you want to have a coffee with her, just get in touch. Here's her number. Perfect.
I'm just thinking actually like that in your gold mine area, if mine was Sunderland, I would think one of my strongest things would be to go to places with communities like gyms, like hairdressers, like rather than just estate agents that might get bombarded.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you're coming at it from an angle that no one else is. However, I wouldn't necessarily pay £1 an email for that list because it's a very different list. But yeah, that's it. And if they're mates, they're going to do it for you. Or you go, look, I can pay you £1 a deal that's completed, you know. But £1 a deal is what I pay everyone, by the way. I had one guy, his goal was to earn 12 grand a year from me. And he got up, I think his best year was 6 grand. But that meant he gave me 6 deals that completed. It's interesting, isn't it? Nev. Sorry, Vince. Nev's here. There's a reason I asked for that. I did forewarn you, nothing personal. Yeah, sorry, Vince.
So your company is Ethical Property Investors. Do you have that as your training?
I'm just going to be correct. My brand is Ethical Property Partners.
Okay. So then once you have that, is that like your trading company and then you set up your SPVs?
So it's just a brand. So I use that, my company uses that. Part of the deal with the franchisees is they get to use that, yeah.
But then you just have SPVs set up?
Correct. All my SPVs, well, unless I've got a JV partner who requests something different. Helen and I are, what was our one called, Helen? Elworthy and Flegg Limited, that's our one. She put her name first. It's quite high D, isn't it? Sounds like we're 70 years old lawyers firm, doesn't it? All mine are Flegg Investments. Flegg Investments 1, Flegg Investments 10, Flegg Investments 26.
And they're your SPVs, but branding is that, and it makes no difference.
That's no difference whatsoever. At the end of the day, most of that marketing for vendors is personal branding. There's not like Ethical Property Partners over it. It's very small. Right, any questions? Ed.
Going back to what you said about prejudice.
About?
Prejudice.
Yes.
Having an ethnic name.
Yeah.
Is that going to be an issue?
I think we've talked about this already. I think your surname is really going to be hard for people to pronounce. I can't pronounce it. We had like a 2-minute conversation about how to pronounce your surname. I would perhaps have a stage name of Smith. Ed Smith.
That is actually, I did use that for a while.
Yeah, but you're allowed to call yourself whatever you want. Maybe you sign it Edward Smith and then you're Ed on the phone. Yeah. Is your name actually Edward?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Edward Smith sounds all right. Whatever you want it to be. And then people are like, but what if they Google me? Or what if they look at my company and they realise it's Ed whatever your like 10-letter surname is. And it's like, well, by that point, they've spoken to you on the phone, they've met you, and if they said, why do you say your name's Smith? By the way, this is like 1 in 100. People get all hung up on this. Oh, I can't send letters out with Ed Smith because someone might do. 1 in 100 people that you speak to. Okay, so that's 100. Oh, is that printing? Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate that. Thank you. That's 100,000 leaflets for one person. And the reason that I mention it is most people don't give a toss about you or your leaflet. Most leaflets are going in the bin. Some people will read it, and very, very few, 0.1%, are going to actually pick up the phone. How many of them are going to bother to Google you? Very few, but maybe someone does. And then the worst case scenarios, they go when you go around to the house. I have to ask this. I can't find Edward Smith anywhere. I can find Ed blah, blah, blah. Forgive me, I don't know your surname. What's that all about? And you go, do you know what? You can't even pronounce my surname. No one can. My whole life, people have found it hard. When I go to Thailand, which is where my parents are from, that's quite a common surname. But here I just call it Smith because it's so much easier. I don't mind which you call it. I just make it easier for people. No one's going to go out of my house now, you fraud. You know, you're just making it easier. All right. Yeah, that's it. There we go. Yeah. Right. Let me talk to you, well, rather, you can talk to me about speaking to, oh my goodness, they haven't. Oh, they have. Oh, they've collated it. I wasn't expecting that. Right, can I have some volunteers, please? Need about 3 volunteers. Sam and JJ, one more. Ed, thank you so much. Right, that's collated, which is brilliant. I need you to flick through them. So you can divide that into 3s and give 1 pack to every person. I'll have the first one, that's it. Yeah, it starts with 42 reasons, that's it. So I'll have the next one. There we go. Cool. Thanks, guys. Split them into 3 big piles and then you can all be doing it. Thank you. So you've got 10 pieces of paper. The first 3 pieces, when they come out to you, are the 42 reasons people sell to you. We've got hole punches as well that will be coming around, so you get those. Then you've got a few examples that I've pulled out of actual marketing. You've got the direct marketing letter. You've got electronic versions of these in the PDF that I've given out as well. You've got the actual leaflet. And then the final 2 pages are the 2 bits that we're going to be using now. There's a telephone conversation structure. And I'm just going to train you in how to do this. Is that okay? And in order to do that, you need to have one of these, which is the form telephone fact find. That's the conversation. What's it called? The most important part of that is the last 2 words, fact find. You're trying to understand the person's situation. I want a volunteer to come and do this with me in role play, front of the room. You there, Nicola? Nicola's there. You snoozed and lose, Nev. So I'm going to tie together a bit of what we did yesterday. Now, some of you might think, wow, this is what I came for. This is the nitty-gritty. This is really high-level training. That's not me blowing my own trumpet. This is the result of 16 years of studying this, 16 years of training hundreds of people on this, and doing hundreds of transactions, if you include all the ones I've helped my clients on. And some of you might be sat there thinking, well, I was overwhelmed yesterday. Some of you in the bar were like, my mind is like buzzing. Don't be overwhelmed by this. This is the result of 16 years. I can do this in my sleep. But I want to share it with you because it will take you to the next level. And we're going to record it and you can listen back to this. But I'm going to give it to you all so that you can really start to unpick this. Do not let perfection get in the way of taking action, okay? DISC. Anive, tell me about DISC. What is it?
Personality profiling system that splits people into 4 general types of behaviour or way of approaching things.
Perfect. Naturally, how do I communicate with people? D. What's that mean, Sam?
That's the alpha male.
Yeah, that's all right. That sums up. Naturally, I'm going to be too fast for people because I'm really high D, really high I. Naturally, I'm going to overpower them with volume, speed, and dominance in general. But I'm self-aware about that. So naturally, I'm probably going to have to slow down. I'm probably going to have to get gentler, and I'm probably going to have to soften everything about me. Make sense? So everyone close your eyes. Nicola, will you spend 60 seconds telling everyone about Wonderful Wigs? Keep your eyes closed, guys. Just listen to Nicola.
Okay. So Wonderful Wigs is a company that I set up 6 years ago after being a hairdresser all of my career. I got breast cancer when I was 36, and it made me realise that there was a massive need for people with hair loss. So I trained and set up a company that would best support those women through medical hair loss.
Okay, and stop. Thank you. So it's a wonderful story, and do have a chat with Nicola. Open your eyes. Write down everything you noticed about her voice. Not the words, everything you noticed about Nicola. What personality profile does she have? How was she speaking? Do it for yourself. Do you want a pen? No, what did you observe? Not what this profile are you, but what did you observe about how you spoke? Okay, who would like to share?
Yeah.
Ed, and then Marcus.
Soft tone, empathy, passion, kindness.
Okay, really soft, wasn't it? Really softly spoken. Marcus.
Yeah, similar. So very soft, very detailed.
There was detail. There was a real. She was very considered, wasn't she? Yeah. Thank you. Fine.
I'm just going to say exactly the same.
Okay. Cool. Anything else from anyone, Joe?
Yeah, I wrote that she was measured in her choice of words.
Yeah, she was measured. Very precise. No.
I thought it was a very positive resolution about how you were addressing and moving the problem forward.
So the interesting thing was she's softly spoken, but there was a definite core of confidence there, wasn't there? There was enough D there to like, I know what I want. I don't need to shout from the rooftops. Like, we could do an hour on that 30 seconds, by the way. Claire and JJ, Claire.
Yeah, and the personal element to it, the private part of the story that led to.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? I deliberately said don't focus on the content, but what you're saying there is she's willing to share really intimate details. The fact that she caught cancer, you don't catch it. The fact that she got cancer. I'll get, yeah. I'll get better at this. We're JV partners, right? New JV partners on the wig business. So I will get better at that. Fuck's sake. Have you caught cancer? We can help you. Fucking hell. You might have to help me a bit, Nicola. But the fact that she was that open, and some of your vendors will be, I will come to you, Vince, some of your vendors will be really open about their situations. Well, that shows that they're a people person. Well, that means they're high I or high S straight away. A high D or a high C probably won't go into that much detail about their personal situation because they're focused more on the facts. Fine, I need to sell because of this and this and this. Nev. Oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry. Vince.
That's right. Actually, I think where she was so soft and gentle, it actually draws you in a little bit more. So sometimes when you're speaking, it's coming at us, whereas I felt like I was coming more towards Nicola.
Absolutely. And that's important because she's going to be used to people listening. So if you don't listen, it's going to jar. She's like, oh, all my friends listen to me carefully when I speak, but Frank's not listening. Makes sense? So you can do a lot of analysis just on the phone. And if we did live calls, and I haven't got any leads, so I can't do live calls with you, but we can do it in role play, you'll notice instantly in the first 10 seconds that I'll modify how I'm speaking to someone just based on what I'm hearing. You can gauge their age really well. Like, I won't ask you to age Nicola based on what you heard, but she didn't sound 70 and she didn't sound 25, did she? So straight away you're narrowing it down to an extent. I reckon you could probably get someone's age to within 10 years just from their voice. You wouldn't think you can, but you really can. Let's flip from just the conversation to Nicola, how she's dressed. What's that say about her personality?
She's relaxed.
She's relaxed, yeah, there's a confidence there, isn't there? Yeah. Let's have, actually, Joe and Laura, do you mind standing up, please? So how are they dressed? They're dressed quite similarly. Do you guys coordinate?
No, but I just, I realized we went to look exactly.
It's like a corporate thing. Look how they're dressed compared to Nicola. How does that differ?
More formal, corporate.
Yeah. Anyone notice how, thanks guys, take a seat. Anyone notice how Joe was dressed last night at dinner? Yeah, how was she dressed?
Flamboyantly.
Really flamboyantly, really loud. It's a compliment, right? By the way, none of this is good or bad. It just is, right? We're all different. So really quite colourful, etc. That's a trait of a really high eye, and her eye's through the roof, isn't it? Whereas you look at Nicola, it's not. I wouldn't say that's flamboyant. It's quite.
Really cool shoes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they are. Look, it's got all stars over them and stuff. Yeah, it's quite subdued. Would you say, or neutral? And what that's saying to me is that that's a more S trait. So a high S person will be a lot more neutral in how they're dressed. And if you listen to her voice, and you can use all these cues, when you walk through someone's front door, you can gauge their personality from how they've decorated their house. She spoke with a very soft, almost quiet voice. That's an S trait. So her S is going to be much higher than mine, which means I need to calm down, means I need to be a bit quieter, means I need to give her more time to think and to speak. Is that helpful? Right, let's do this. This is your telephone fact find that Nicola has so bravely offered to do in a role play. So the first time we're going to do this, I'm going to be the person buying the house. So Nicola, use your own house that you actually live in with Steve, because it's easier. Dream up one of the 42 reasons for selling it. Tell me when you've got one.
Okay.
It's make-believe, you're okay?
Yeah.
And Nicola's received one of my leaflets, phoned the phone number on the leaflet. By the way, where's that number go?
Your call centre.
It goes to my call centre, right? I use all day PA. They pick up the phone. Oh, hi, 24/7, even on Christmas Day. Hi, you're through to Frank's office. How can I help? Oh, hi, I got your leaflet. I'm interested in selling my house. Fantastic. Can I just take your name and number? Brilliant. The person you actually need to speak to is Frank. He's not in the office right now. Whatever time of day, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12, midnight. Frank's not in the office right now, but I will get him to give you a call back when he's next in the office. So this telephone fact find is you calling them at a time that's convenient to you, when you've got this form in front of you, when you can do a good job on it. Now, I've got to the point where I can do these when I'm driving and can hold the information in my head, but you're gonna need to have the form, you're gonna need to be writing it out, and I would suggest you have the telephone conversation structure to help prompt you. Bring.
Hello.
Hey, is that, so straight away, That was quiet, wasn't it? Right. So straight away, I'm dropping it down. Hey, is that Nicola?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna have to do it louder. They won't hear us. Okay. Hi, is that Nicola?
Yes.
Hey, Nicola. It's Frank here. You telephoned my office yesterday afternoon about wanting to sell your house.
Thank you for calling us. I was just curious.
Sure. Yeah. What are you curious about?
Well, you said that you could sell my house quickly, and I just wanted to know more details around that.
Absolutely, I can. So she's taken me off script already, right?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. You're a vendor. You do whatever the fuck you want. It's my job, right? But what I'm saying is it's a conversation structure, and I've got to know it inside out that I'm not going, oh no, how do I say, how can I help? She's just asked me a question, shit. So I know that the first thing I wanted to do is recognize who I am. She's done that. I said, you phoned my office yesterday about, you got my letter. It's not a leaflet, by the way. It's a letter when you speak to a vendor. Letters are personal. Leaflets are junk that get thrown through their letterbox. Small things. Don't get overwhelmed. If you call it a leaflet, they're not going to tell you to fuck off. It's just going to very marginally change your conversion rate. And these marginal gains add up to more deals. And then she got recognition. But most people, like literally 9 out of 10 will go, oh yeah, thanks for phoning. And then they're going to let me lead. But she started leading, which is a D trait. So what we heard in that 30 seconds, there is a confidence there. She's like starting to lead, which is interesting. Now, it's not a high D lead where, yeah, got your leaflet. Yeah, I'm speaking to 3 companies. How much can you pay? Like sometimes you get people like that, like, oof, I'm going to let you be the alpha dog in this conversation. But it was certainly a confidence. So she asked for more details. Is that your question? Yeah. Oh, absolutely, Nicola. Well, thank you for getting in touch. I'll explain how it all works on this telephone call. I'm not looking at her because I'm trying not to communicate visually with her. I'm trying to do it as I would on the telephone because I'm trying to focus on my voice, okay? I'm not being rude. Yeah, I'll run through all the details, Nicola, on this call. What was it about the leaflet about the letter that made you respond? What are you hoping to achieve? Let me just pause. That's another way of asking, how can I help? I need to know why she's selling. I cannot sell to her until I know why she's selling. That's where I'm going with it. Does that make sense? If I start saying quick sale and she wants a specific date next year, I'm going to lose the sale. If I start talking about 25% below and she's in negative equity, I'm going to lose the sale because she needs above market value for her house. Does that make sense? I need to know why she's phoned me. I cannot move on. And sometimes I'll have to ask 2, 3, 4 different ways to get that information.
Yeah, so I just want to cover all my options, and your leaflet came through the door at a time where for a few years we've been thinking about downsizing, so I just wanted to see what you could offer.
Fantastic. So in my head, I'm gauging how motivated she is. Write down a score out of 10 for how motivated you think she is right now. Vince, what did you write down, mate?
5.
Sam? Neve?
2. 6.
6.
3. 5.
4.
Okay, it's interesting. You'll get better at gauging it. She's a 2 or 3 for me. It's a shit reason for selling in terms of level of motivation. But that's fine. She could be lying. Vendors lie quite a lot. We've spoken for about a minute. Like she might have, well, she's going to have really low trust in me. So I'm still going to carry on just the same. But right now I'm thinking, okay, not massively motivated. Okay, Nicola, yeah, that makes great sense. I'm so glad you reached out. We can definitely help with that for sure. So in terms of your downsizing, because I haven't got enough information yet, I need to know the whole story. In terms of the downsizing, have you found something that you're looking to sell yet? Looking to buy yet?
No.
Cool. So at this, that's fine. Not a lot of I going on here. Crikey, Riley. So we've got a bit of S and a bit of D, but no I. Okay, gotcha. So it's just exploratory at this point. I gotcha. We can definitely help with that. In terms of selling your house then, so you haven't found something to buy. I wanted to feel heard, so I'm paraphrasing this back. So you haven't found something to buy yet. In terms of selling yours, have you put that on the market yet, or are you still, considering your options?
No, and that's the reason that I did respond to your letter, because I don't really want to put our house on the market and for people to know where our house is and people to come round viewing our house.
Okay.
I didn't want to sell it that way if we ever sell it.
Yeah, I understand. A lot of people actually use our service, our buying service, and sell to us for that reason. The fact that you can sell with discretion, the fact that none of your neighbours will know, really appeals to a lot of people. I'm talking about other people because I want her to feel smart. I want her to feel like, I'm in the club of smart people. I'm speaking to the right person here. Now, had she said, she went down a route I wasn't expecting. I expected her to say, no, I haven't put it on the market yet, and I'm just phoning you to find out how it works. She was dropping to a 0.1 out of 10 at that point, if she had said that, or she was lying. So if that was the real reason, 0.1. If she was lying, I don't know what the real reason is, but she didn't go down that route. She then started talking about confidentiality. That's interesting. Not many people respond to my leaflet for confidentiality reasons. Of course, some do. So that's interesting. Now I'm a bit more intrigued. Now I'm like at a 2 or a 3 because I want to dig a bit deeper. I understand, Nicola. Yeah, lots of people use our buying service for that reason. And what is it specifically about, not putting the house on the market? Lots of people would, in your situation, put the house on the market and just gauge market appetite for selling it. What is it specifically about the not wanting to put it on the market that attracted you to phoning us? Do you see what I've done? Same question, just in a different way. I just wanted to speak more about it.
Yeah, just the house is unusual and not many people know where it is, so I don't want loads of tyre kickers coming out of the paper to have a neb.
Okay. To have a neb, is that a Newcastle phrase? That's funny. Now, I would make a joke out of that, Joe. If you're clearly from a different area, I'd make a joke out of neb. And she started laughing. Do you see she started laughing? Now we've broken the ice and we're building rapport. And if you were local, you go, oh, I love it. You've just said neb. I love it when people use our lingo, That's weird now. It's a bit very niche, right? She's like no one knows where I live and I don't want anyone to know where I live. So that's what I'm thinking. But by the way, yeah. But here's the thing.
It's not weird.
Now she's a 4 or 5. It's like the more weird she is, the better for us. That's why I married her. Yeah, that JV, Nicola. Yeah, I completely understand, Nicola. That makes perfect sense. So, in terms of, I will give you an offer. I'll make you an offer. I'll give you an indication of what we can. Sorry. I'll be able to explain what we'd be able to pay for your house on this call, and then if we're in the same ballpark, I'm back on script now. If we're in the same ballpark, I'll be able to pop out and meet with yourself and value your property accurately, etc. And we can take it from there. The property you're looking to down, I still don't know enough, so I'm going to ask another question. It's quite unusual to have to ask this many times, just so you know, but she is a bit weird. So, in terms of this house that you're buying, are you buying locally, or are you going to go somewhere else? What's the plan?
So we might move to one of our other properties. So we've got a smaller property. We might move into that, or we might buy in the same area, smaller.
I see. She's a landlord. Now I'm interested. Now she might be squeezed by interest rates. Now she might be struggling, facing repossession. There could be end of mortgages, and she needs to pay some of the mortgage off. Now I'm interested. Now it's a 5 out of 10, right? It's starting to get there. Oh, I see. So you're a landlord currently, are you, Nicola?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So I can't ask any more. This is quite unusual, just so you know. It's really unusual for me to have had 4 5 goes at understanding, and to only have, I want to sell for confidentiality. It's very unusual. Normally by this point I'd know why she wanted to sell. But I need to move on because it's going to get a bit awkward. And she's given me 2 one-word answers now. That's not making me feel like we're having a great load of rapport. It's not helped, by the way, by the fact I keep stopping and training you guys. So that is stilting the conversation a little bit. Would it be helpful if we went to the start again and I didn't do any training? If we just did the conversation, would that be helpful? Can we start again? Bring.
Hello.
Hey, is that Nicola?
Yes.
Hey Nicola, it's Frank here. I'm giving you a bell because you phoned my office yesterday in response to my letter about selling your property.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. No problem at all. Well, thanks for getting in touch. How can I help?
So we're just looking to explore our options in terms of selling. I'm not sure if this is the right time, but we have been thinking about downsizing for a little while.
Oh, okay. Brilliant. Well, yeah, we can definitely help with that. What was it about our letter that interested you specifically?
Just what you said in the letter was that it doesn't have to be advertised. We don't have to use estate agents, and that would appeal to us because I don't like people to know where I live. I like my privacy. So.
Absolutely. It's quite a common reason that people get in touch with us and we end up buying their houses. Actually, is the fact that they'd rather not advertise it to the whole world that their house is for sale. They'd rather not have the neighbours coming round and having a poke around just to be nosy. And the beauty of selling to us is, at the end, during this call, I'll be able to give you an indication of what we can pay, and then if we're in the same ballpark, I can pop out and we can have a coffee and I can value your property, and if we go ahead from there, it really is the fact that only you and I will know about it until it's all completed and you decide to move on to the house you're going to downsize into. In terms of that, have you found somewhere yet? Do you know where you're going to be moving to?
We do have another property which is smaller that we've thought we might move into.
Okay. So, are you a landlord then, Nicola, or do you just have a second home?
Both.
Both. Okay. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, we can definitely help. So the way our service works, as you can see from the leaflet, is we are able to buy really quickly if that's what you want. Are you looking for speed, or are you just wanting the confidentiality?
The confidentiality is more important to us than it happening fast.
Gotcha. Okay. So we can fit in with your time frame, and what we can do is give you certainty as well as the confidentiality. So we can exchange contracts. You know that it's sold. We can even delay that if you want to then go and find the property you want to downsize into, or if you decide you're going to move into your property that you want to downsize into, then we can tie in with your time frames for sure. And of course, it's all completely confidential. The other thing to mention is there's no deductions whatsoever for fees. So we pay the lawyers' fees. You have your own lawyers, but we pay their fees for you, and there's no estate agents' fees because you've found us direct. So do you have any kind of idea of what your property is worth at the moment? I've misspoke there. Let me just unwind a little bit. So in order to provide that service, Nicola, we can pay up to 75% of what the property's worth. So do you have any idea of your property's value at the moment?
Roughly.
Excellent. So roughly what's it worth?
1.2.
1.2 million. Okay, fantastic. So based on that valuation of 1.2 million, and I know you've said it's roughly, but we would be able to pay up to 900,000 for the property. Would that kind of, and obviously if it's worth more, we can pay more. Would that kind of a figure work for you?
I would be interested in exploring it more.
Fantastic. Okay, so I could actually pop out to see you on Friday afternoon. How would 2 o'clock on Friday work for you?
Yep, that's fine.
Brilliant. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Cool. Give her a round of applause. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you so much. I don't do those anymore, and it's really shocked me how rusty I was. That was not that good a conversation at all. About 2 years ago, one of my franchisees said, Frank, you can't train us on that anymore. You're not good enough, which is really funny. But do you know what? It doesn't matter. Did you see how much I followed it? It was quite accurate. It wasn't far off. Did I really get to the nub of it? No. Could I get any further? No, I couldn't delve any more into it.
I wouldn't give any more than that on the. I'd give you more there than I probably would on
yeah, exactly. And I sensed
on the phone
that
because I would just want to be guarded.
And that's the high S coming through. That like, do you know what? I'm only giving you this much. And you gave more the second time than you did the first time. But that's fine. Did you feel comfortable?
Yeah.
You sure? I think I pushed you quite hard to be
I didn't want to tell you how much I thought my house was worth.
No, but without that, I can't really make her an offer. So she's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's a 12.5-minute conversation. That's what you're aiming for. If it's shorter than 10 minutes, you haven't built enough rapport. And if it's above 15 minutes, you're probably overselling. If it's a 30-minute conversation, you've oversold. You've talked for too long. And all I've done is follow that, guys. That's it. And at the start, you're going to be rubbish. But as you go through, then you'll get better and better. How much of that information did I take? Barely anything. Barely anything. Now, I would have, before I hung up, got her address, because I don't know where I'm going. But other than that, I wouldn't have asked anything else. And the reason I wouldn't have asked anything else is she didn't want to give me anything else. But what's the most important bit of information I got out of that whole call?
Meeting on Friday.
Well, that's what I gave her.
Is she willing to go for the price?
Is she willing to accept a 300 grand discount? And anything other than, as Matt Elwell says, fuck off and die, anything other than absolutely not, brilliant. We're in the same ballpark. That was my wording. We always use that wording. We're in the same, not does that work for you? Does that kind of ballpark work for you? Does that kind of an offer work for you? She's willing to sell a £1.2 million property for 900 grand. Let's go have a coffee. That's worth an hour of my time. And that's it. I don't care if it's clearly not going to be a 2-bedroom terraced house, is it? I don't care where we are. Maybe in like Mayfair it would be, but we're in the northeast. Probably a fucking castle. It's an island, yeah. It is Newcastle.
It's a city.
And that's it. So if I'm honest, I should have got a bit more information, because what have I made hard for myself now? I've deliberately made it Friday afternoon. That's so that I've got a few touches. So I'm going to write her a letter now. If you look in the manual, there's a letter, looking forward to seeing you, blah, blah, blah. Luke, what were you going to say?
Comparables.
Comparables, I can't value it. But I've already done it not tomorrow morning. If I said, right, how's 9 a.m. tomorrow morning? How do you feel now?
Under pressure.
Under pressure. But also, how busy am I if I can drop everything and be there tomorrow morning? How desperate do I feel now? But also, she and everyone, I'm selling a £300,000 service now. That's what she's going to pay me to buy a house in the way she wants me to buy it. You've got to earn that. No one wakes up and goes, without having a single thought, well, actually walking down the street and they see the Ferrari showroom and go, fuck me, I'm going to have one of them. Can I buy this one? I love this one. They think about it. They process it. They go for a test drive. It's the same. It's £300,000. So I need time, and I deliberately thought about it, and I thought, what's the right amount of time? I didn't want to do next Monday, 7 days. It's a long time for her to... She's motivated, right? But you can't put her under pressure. So Thursday would have been a bit soon to do what I need to do. And Monday would have been a bit fast. So Friday was about perfect. Now, if she said, oh, I can't do Friday, I would have said, okay, no problem. How's Thursday afternoon? Can't do Thursday afternoon. No way, I'm doing Wednesday. I can't do what I need to do by Wednesday. No problem at all. How's Monday morning, 10 a.m.? And we would have sorted it. What I need to do is I need to get that letter in the post today, so she gets it tomorrow. Now that's on letter-headed paper. She's probably gonna Google my company at that point. She's probably gonna Google me, look on Facebook and stuff. And then I would probably, so she'd get that on Tuesday, I'm posting it on Monday. I'd probably give her a bell on Wednesday and say, hey Nicola, it's Frank here. Really looking forward to seeing you on Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock. I didn't ask you on Friday, but I just wanted to run a few quick things by you because I remember you said the property was worth roughly 1.2. I thought it might be helpful if I valued it in advance. So I'm just looking at some comparables. Could you just tell me how many bedrooms it is? And is it a detached or is it an end terrace? And I just run through what I needed. Wednesday morning, it's a touch point, right? And what I'm teaching you here is the basis of sales. And we're going to break now, but after the break, I'm going to come back and I'm going to teach you the rapport curve. Hands up if you know what the rapport curve is. Just Jay? Do you know what it is, Jay? Good man. After the break, Jay's going to teach you the rapport curve. You've got 15 minutes to prep, mate. So, 5 to 10, back at 10 past 10 in the room. Thank you so much.